You can't choreograph Bob. You can't copy him. You can't imitate him.
If it's not Hammersmith, everyone says Hammersmith. I don't know where people got that from. It's Shepherd's Bush.
Well, I can't take credit, man. Bob's music was my machine gun, man.
I think this might be one of the most iconic lines from the movie, but you said, you swim in pollution, you get polluted, okay? And you said this to Kingsley in the film. I think Bob and Rita's relationship is quite a unique look into the intense like love and hardship that you get with a relationship which is almost playing second fiddle to like a greater cause.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to put it. I thought about it myself, and I think, how did you prepare to kind of capture the essence of Rita and Bob's relationship?
I'm so glad that you mentioned that line and that scene, because that was one of the hardest scenes of the film to shoot. Not because it was difficult, but because like it's like high stakes and high emotion. And that emotion I could only capture by meeting her. Yeah. That was the only way. I read her book, I scoured the internet, I watched YouTube videos, I talked out loud about her. There's only so much you can do without seeing this person. And like, I know sometimes people play legends and like, you know, they're no longer on the earth and they just work with what they're given. But the fact that I was able to go to her house, sit down with her, sit on the floor, cross-legged, I just stared at her for hours. We ate, we laughed, we chilled, talked about her love for Bob, which was very, very present. It felt like he was right there with her as she was talking about him. It's just like this kind of, I don't know. It's like when you talk about someone, you go back to a memory. It's like the memory that she may have recalled was like from when she was young.
Your chemistry is out of this world. How did you guys both, or how did you specifically approach the kind of capturing of the essence of Bob and Rita's relationship?
Spending time together. Lashana and I spent a lot of time together. I'm not saying that that's what you necessarily need to do. You get some great actors who can just turn up on the day and make that happen, but we had so much to talk about, and my process on this involved a lot of talking and needing to talk and wanting to talk to everyone and double and triple checking everything. So by the time we got to shooting, Lashana had 6 months of me just sort of ranting at her, and we you know, we spoke a lot about unconditional love and how we can, you know, find a way to bring that across without words necessarily. That was something that we spoke about really early on. So in the unspoken, that's where most can be felt, and so yeah, we just had a lot of great conversations. By the time we started shooting, Lashana and I, we'd spent a lot of time together, and we knew each other, and we knew what we wanted to achieve. So it was just about getting straight in.
Reinaldo, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
It's a spectacular film, and I think a lot of people are going to see that soon. I think the film constantly alludes to Bob Marley's absent father, and I think there's constant flashbacks as well to a young Bob running away in the burning fields, running away from a horseman who I think the audience assumes is his father, but actually towards the end you might see it's someone else. How did you set out to portray their relationship and the kind of beautiful representation of Haile Selassie almost being the father figure Bob never had?
Yeah, I mean, Bob was quite a spiritual person. It's in all his lyrics, it's in the scripture. And so I wanted a visual representation of that, what could be, and what was Bob running from his whole life? You know, what was he running from? You felt that there was something that he was battling, that he was struggling with. And this visual representation from the time he was a boy, you know, obviously he was born into abject poverty, homeless, these things that I didn't know about Bob that we learned. And, you know, anybody would have run from that. You'd probably want to distance yourself as far from that situation as possible. And so this visual representation is also something that felt personal. You know, oftentimes we're running away from our problems, we're running away from the things, then at some point you have to stop.
Absolutely.
And you have to face that thing. And maybe it's not as scary on the other side. Maybe there is something that's guiding your life, a spiritual guide. And so that representation came out visually in this way, tied to the music in the film. That was the thing that we found. You know, we found in the writing process that we wanted to tie it to the music because it was all in the lyrics that he wrote.
I don't know what your vocal training is, like your background in singing and stuff, but you obviously, with the I3s, you were next to Naomi Cohen, if I'm not mistaken, and Savannah. What's your vocal background? 'Cause-
I sang before I acted.
Oh, okay.
So I was A-okay.
Okay, so you're different, basically.
Yeah,
You're
no,
just-
yeah, I'm
built,
different.
You're built differently.
I am
Okay,
built different,
okay.
to be honest. Thank you for recognising it. Yeah, I mean, and they're both incredible. Their voices are like literally sweet. And we had moments in rehearsals where we were just finding all these different harmonies, and we were like, man, it's such a shame we're not like just making an album. Because like we were captured, and you can hear like our voices a little bit, but it was stems also from the live shows, the real I3s. So, but I was cool. Yeah,
You look
pleasure.
extremely comfortable, extremely casual, and obviously, you're famously a West Londoner, as you were
Yes.
saying. I'm from Shepherd's Bush. You're telling me you're from.
I'm from Shepherd's Bush.
Similar parts.
Don't
as
believe
well.
it's not Hammersmith. Everyone says Hammersmith. I don't know where people got that from. It's Shepherd's Bush.
We respect Hammersmith, but really and truly, let's give Shepherd's Bush the proper love. So Wikipedia, whoever's writing this stuff, can we please change it?
Stop, yeah.
Bob Marley is famous for his freedom of spirit worldwide, and I think there's no better example of this than his dancing. Right? I think it's just so spontaneous, it's so instinctive. You can just feel the impulsiveness of the dancing. Now, I've never seen you cut shapes in the dance. I've never seen you. I mean, people are saying you were cutting shapes on the Barbie film, but somehow I think it's slightly different to what you were doing here. Did you do any physical preparation to make yourself the kind of Bob Marley dancing legend?
I had to watch him for months.
Really?
And I had to understand that I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was that when I was watching Bob, that there's a magnetism that was like something I've never seen, and I think it's something to do with Bob is connecting to. He's trying to communicate a message that means so much to him, and he really wants that message to be clear. So he's connecting to something higher than himself. He truly was in service, you know. He truly was in service when it came to his music and what he was doing with it, you know. His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, that there was a message that he was trying to communicate. And so I think it was, you know, it was a process of going, you know, we just have to try. And a lot of the takes that we did, you know, you have to do a lot of bad takes to get to one that feels close, you know. You can't choreograph Bob, you can't copy him, you can't imitate him.
You filmed so many historic moments from Bob's life, none more so than the One Love Peace concert in 1978, where he famously put the hands together of the political rivals. I think it's Michael Manley and Edward Seager.
Yes, that's right.
45 years on, because I heard you filmed it in the exact space where the concert was, 45 years on from it. Did you find it challenging to recreate like the history accurately in that space?
No. We were fortunate that a lot of Bob's inner circle was still alive and still part of this film. Neville Garrick was an artistic director for Bob. Obviously, you see him in the Exodus scene, but he was on set every day as a consulting producer. He did all the lighting for Bob's shows, so we knew we had people that were there that knew what it was like, and you know, helped us to recreate those moments in a way that felt organic and real. And being in the real space was just spiritual. It was. It felt like you were on sacred ground, so that was quite special.
It looked amazing, and you couldn't quite recreate the lightning strike, but I think that's
yeah,
okay.
well, we let the archival take care of that.
You're from Northwest London, if I'm not mistaken. I know a lot of ballers from Northwest London, and you were kicking a few footballs in the film.
Yeah.
How much did you have to practice?
I'm not a good footballer.
You're not a good footballer.
And I watched Bob, and you go, he could have played semi-pro, and I was watching him, and I was like, it's low centre of gravity. So I got a coach from, I think, Arsenal or Chelsea came in and helped, and was like, because I'm a lot taller than Bob, I was like, how can I learn to, you know, it's low centre of gravity. It's like Messi and Maradona and those guys, they're smaller, so the way they are over the ball's different. But we did put a lot of work in it, because I was like, guys, I'm not going to be able to do this, you know, like, I can't kick ball, you know. I can play, but not very well, and I grew up with a lot of ballers. You know, I've grew up with people who are good at football. So yeah.
Listen, I reckon you got away with it to a good level.
I think I got away with it.
There was a quote in the film which I think is going to become one of the iconic lines of the film, and it's, his guitar is his machine gun. And I think they were convincing Bob to perform at the Smile Jamaica concert amid all the political tension and the risk of violence. What was your machine gun in this biopic in trying to shine a light on Bob's life message of peace and unity?
Well, I can't take credit, man. Bob's music was my machine gun, man. We had the template, we had the music, we had the lyrics, we had his message. It was the guiding light and the backbone of this film. Obviously, we had an amazing cast, amazing crew to bring that together. But yeah, this film is just a vessel. It's a vessel to continue Bob's message for the next generation of kids that don't know Bob. So yeah, his lyrics were our machine gun in this film.
You're making me very proud to be at West London. Like we said, you're built differently. You're doing amazing things. You've got stellar acting credits and a stellar career even so far, and you're still so young. I just wanted to ask, what does it mean for your personal journey being one of the leads in such an iconic biopic?
Thank you for asking me that. It's an arrival for me in terms of the level-headedness and the throwing away of the personal stuff that you have to do in order to enter a role like this, which is 1, real, 2, represents your culture, and also just makes you realise that everything you've done up until now has amounted to this moment. And every single moment in our life is us amounting to this moment because of our experiences. So I know that both in and outside of work, I've come to a place where these roles just feel at home for me. And that's what I'm going to continue doing, just being at home.
And I love that you said it all amounted to this, because no one actually sees those 5 a.m. get-ups for auditions and 6 a.m. and you're travelling to here and you're doing this and you're putting your own money down to travel. So I just wanted to say, to close out the interview, congratulations. You deserve everything that's coming your way. And I hope when the movie's released, it's going to be a big thing for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. I want to shake your hand. I really appreciate that.
West London in the building.
Shakes.
Come on, the West Shakes.